All right, Knockout Chaos. One of the worst names for a boxing event that I've ever heard. Ended up not just meeting expectations, but completely blowing them out of the water. With Anthony Joshua delivering what's probably going to be the knockout of the year. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what exactly just happened. Let's get into it. All right, so Francis Ngannou, who took the boxing world by storm with his extremely close boxing match with Tyson Fury, had just about everybody thinking that in the next 6 to 12 months, him getting a crack at and potentially holding the title of undisputed champion was not just possible, but was maybe even probable within his first 3 fights as a boxer. And with the knockdown heard round the world, and the memory of Anthony Joshua getting knocked down and ultimately knocked out by Andy Ruiz still pretty fresh in the minds of a lot of boxing fans. The idea of Francis Ngannou finding, again, that perfect shot that's able to put down and potentially knock out Anthony Joshua seemed pretty reasonable. Even me in my last video about this fight, I was pretty split on who was going to win. I figured it was going to come down to who was going to land first. But this is because I not only underestimated Anthony Joshua, but I also underestimated the skill level that exists in the heavyweight division in boxing. If you watch the knockout back, the key to how Anthony Joshua was able to knock out Francis Ngannou lies within how Francis was able to be effective against Tyson Fury. Now, I know there's some debate about whether or not Tyson took the fight against Francis Ngannou as seriously as he should have, but the one thing that's undebatable is that Tyson, whether he prepared for this fight or didn't, had basically zero footage of Francis as a boxer to go off of. And then now Anthony Joshua, stepping in the ring against Francis Ngannou, has 10 rounds of Francis Ngannou and all of his boxing tendencies to go off of and find an opening. And one thing he was able to pick up on, one of Francis's most effective weapons as a boxer, is his utilization of the left hand. See, Francis Ngannou as a boxer relies heavily on his left hand, specifically when he's standing in orthodox. Francis Ngannou is not exactly the most mobile fighter that you're ever going to see. So defensively, he's not relying on head movement. He's more relying on taking maybe a step out of range and throwing his nearest weapon, the left hand. So Francis's defense is essentially offense. And while this did work against Tyson Fury, he was able to knock him down with that lead left hook. You'll even see early in the fight against Anthony Joshua trying to throw a 1-2 to the body. Francis immediately countering with a check hook, which he actually landed on AJ a couple times. And for the most part, for the first couple minutes, Francis was winning that round, specifically with that left hand. But the problem starts here. As soon as Francis switched into southpaw, that lead left hand is no longer available to use to try to intercept some of the shots Anthony Joshua was going to throw, leaving Joshua feeling comfortable and confident enough that if he steps in and fully commits to the right hand, it's going to land, and it's going to land clean. You see here Francis going for the left hook again. On the second knockdown, you'll see right there, Francis overextends with the left hand, isn't as used to the boxing range that he's fighting in, throws that shot just a little too short. Anthony Joshua, being the former unified heavyweight boxing champion, is able to pick up on the fact that Francis overextended his lead hand, which is his main source of defense. He's no longer in danger of getting caught with that left hand, and AJ is able to do what most high-level boxers would do in this situation. He's able to throw that pull counter and put Francis down again. At this point, Francis was hurt. There's no two ways about it. Now AJ is able to just step in, throw a giant right hand, and that's all she wrote. What we saw from Anthony Joshua was probably the best knockout of his career, and it is just insane seeing Francis laid out like that. You get so used to seeing him to other people, it's just strange seeing it happen to him. A guy who from his entire career in MMA and even in his, very short-lived boxing career up to this point, the guy looked invincible. We've never seen him rock, let alone knocked down, let alone knocked out. But at the end of the day, as much criticism as Anthony Joshua receives, the guy is a lot more than just a powerful right hand. He's an extremely high-level boxer that's able to make the reads in real time and find the right shot at the right time. Meanwhile, Francis really didn't have too much of an opportunity to even get warmed up in this fight. And as for Francis, no matter what the outcome of this fight was going to be, he's already won. He was able to bounce back from that first defeat against Stipe, rise up and become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the UFC, win against the establishment, and got exactly what he wanted. Not just one, but 2 big-time boxing matches where he got paid all the money in the world, and at 37 years old, can now look back and say that he's done just about everything that he wanted to do in the world of combat sports. And for Anthony Joshua, a loss here would have been devastating, to say the least. He was going to go in there and get stopped by a guy who, again, although he looked great in his first fight, isn't a seasoned professional boxer. So on the bright side, now the fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is as interesting and as heated as it can possibly be. Win, lose, or draw as far as Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. Francis still has a pretty good payday waiting for him in the PFL whenever he's ready. Devastating win for AJ, devastating loss for Francis Ngannou, but at the end of the day, both of these guys come out of the situation ahead. Thanks for watching.